When you collect Social Security might be the biggest decision you make in retirement. Let me show you why. So if you look at my screen here, this is the software where you can optimize your Social Security strategy. And you can see, and we're going to walk you through this example, but this person, they will have $571,000 more dollars by deciding to collect at their optimal point versus, for example, if they decided they want to turn it on at full retirement age, where it would be $215,000. Or you can see age 70, where it would kind of be a break-even point. What we want to do is determine, okay, should we collect it at full retirement age 70, as early as possible? Do we want it to be the optimal strategy? What's going to put the most dollars in our pocket by the end of the day? Now, the reason Social Security is so difficult for many to determine is we don't have a crystal ball. It would be really easy if we knew exactly when we would pass away, but we don't, so we have to plan for it. This should be the only video you need to know when it comes to Social Security. Now, I love this stuff, and if you like this stuff, you don't have to love it, but if you like optimizing your investments or tax strategy or withdrawal approach, meaning how you create income, or healthcare, or estate planning, or just general tips to have a fun and fulfilling retirement, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. If you do not like any of those topics, please do not subscribe because you will not like me at all, because I'll talk about them a lot. I love this stuff. My name is Ari. I'm a certified financial planner. I'm the host of the Early Retirement Podcast, and I'm the vice president at Root Financial Partners. Everything I always go over is for fun, educational, informational content and purposes only. Please be smart about this. If you're going to execute any strategy, consult your own advisor, tax preparer, state attorney, what have you. Make sure you're doing the right things. Now let's get into it. What are the 3 reasons to delay collecting Social Security? And how should we think about Social Security for our strategy? I'm going to take a wild guess, and I bet I'm right, and I'm going to show you why. Now, I could be wrong, but let's hear me out. So I imagine you're thinking one of 2 things right now, if you're thinking about Social Security. Some of you are like, I'm thinking about cookies right now. I'm not talking about cookies, just Social Security, okay? We'll get to the cookies later. So, number 1, some of you are thinking the following. I don't know how long I'm going to live, but I've been in good health. I'm still in good health. I could live a very long time, but I saw my parents, they wish they collected Social Security early. And once again, I don't know how long I'm going to live, but I'm in good health. I want to make sure I don't leave money on the table. I don't want to be 90 going, why did I turn on that Social Security too early? But I've also been paying into this thing for a long time. So I'm just going to turn it on as early as possible at age 62. Could I do better? Sure, if I were to wait, but I don't want to. I'm turning it on. That's some of you, okay? Now, there's another group of you that are going, look, I don't know how long I'm going to live, but I paid into this thing for a long time. I want to turn it on, but I feel like I should wait. I feel like I should wait because every year I delay, I guarantee a rate of return. And if something happens to me, my spouse will get the larger amount for the rest of their life, which is really encouraging because, once again, I want to make sure I'm protecting my family. So that's most of you, okay? You're both wrong. Now, I promise I'm not mean. I will joke with people and say I'm the meanest financial advisor. Now, I'll tell you where that actually came from, but I'm not mean. I try not to be. I try to be very transparent because I don't want you mad at me later if you were to retire too early and now have to go back to work. And I don't want you to retire too late where you're now going, Ari, why didn't you give me the confidence to retire earlier? I was in a fine spot to do so. So my dad growing up used to say he was the meanest dad there is. And he was joking, and he was an awesome dad. But he used to say that because I would see a kid get to go do something, and I wouldn't get to do it. And I said, why are you being so mean? And he goes, because I'm the meanest. So he was a great dad. Here's my point. When it comes to Social Security, these people are both wrong. And the reason they're wrong is because before you get to that analysis, you have to ask yourself, what's going to put more money into my pocket? Is it collecting Social Security at 62, 63, 65, 70? Or is it implementing a tax strategy that will make me even more money? Hear me out. Let's pretend that you want to spend $100,000 a year in retirement and all of your money is in a 401k. Let's call it $2 million. That's great. You need to take money from your 401k so you can go live your life. That's the reason you saved and invested. Now, when you take money from your 401k, that gets taxed as what's called ordinary income. It's as if you just made more money. It's like you're working today. Now, that increases what's called your taxable income. That's the amount of income you pay taxes on. So if we were to add Social Security to that, meaning you want to spend $100,000 a year Now we're going to add Social Security. Let's call it $40,000 a year for simplicity here. You now have $140,000 that's coming in the door. Now, some of you are like, hey, you did not prove your point. Like, you've only shown me I get more money. What's the problem here? Let me show you. So I showed you on my screen here, this person, if they correctly determine Social Security, their optimal strategy will add $571,000 more dollars over the course of their lifetime. Now, what would you rather have? $500,000 more dollars or $3.4 million more dollars? What I'm showing you right now is the power of what's called Roth conversions. I have about 5 or 10 or 30 episodes where I talk about Roth conversions in more detail. But when you turn on Social Security, that increases your income, which means it might be a whole lot less effective to do Roth conversions because you're filling up a certain tax bracket. Let me show you an example. This is a sample tax return for someone I work with today. Their income is $224,000. Now, it wasn't always this way. This is what's coming in right now because it's not up to them. They have what are known as required minimum distributions being sent out from their IRA, any pre-tax money. And that means that they have to take them out of their portfolio, about $100,000, whether they want to or not. They have a pension and they have Social Security. So they have all of this income coming in, and you can see they're in retirement and they are filling up the 22% bracket just about whether they want to or not. Now, this couple, if they did not have Social Security or they, for example, decided to delay, their income would be lower and they already have more than they need. So they turned on Social Security too early because they wanted to take pressure off of their portfolio, which I get, by the way. That sounds nice. What if my portfolio didn't go down as much because Social Security was helping out? That's level one, and sometimes that's the answer. Let me show you this. What if I were to switch something here? Watch what happens to these results here. So before, it showed $3.5 million. Look at the screen now. Now it shows $438,000. Well, that's less than $500,000, which is what I showed you before. So what I'm now showing you is these Roth conversions, they might not be as powerful as Social Security might be. So for your situation, you should be running these level of projections to determine what's going to put more money in your pocket. Is it delaying Social Security so that you can make sure your wife is taken care of, or husband, if something happens to you and they get a larger amount, and implement tax strategies in the meantime, such as Roth conversions, tax harvesting, all these other strategies? Or is it going to benefit you more to turn on Social Security earlier because it's going to take less pressure off your portfolio? This is next level Social Security stuff. This is not easy. So I don't want you guys freaking out going, I don't feel like I'm an expert. And you're not. You're never going to be. I mean, some of you could be. I would not be an expert in your field, so I'm not going to pretend to do a surgery. I'm good at what I do because I love doing it, because my parents were burned by 4 advisors, and that's why I became an advisor. So this is level one. The reason to delay Social Security is it might make you way more money to do something else. You can once again play around with this exact tool in the description of this video. Now, for all of you to know, I'm using an example in here of someone who has $1.6 million. They're 54, wanting to retire at 56, and they're just trying to plan well. So I didn't go in here and choose 10 million or 100 million. This is just a traditional client of someone who might work with Root. Okay, what's the second reason to delay Social Security? Well, I already touched on it, but it's you want to care for your spouse. And generally, 2 people that are making a Social Security decision, well, sometimes it ends up becoming a 1 people, which I know is not perfect English. I just try to keep it fun and lighthearted with my clients. I'll say, is this a 2 people decision or a 1 people decision? Which should be 1 person, as you know. And so the reason for that is I'll see someone come and go, I'm going to collect Social Security at 64 because I determine it's optimal. I go, great. Optimal for you or your spouse? And they're like, I don't know. I just kind of ran my own projections. I said, well, do you want to keep your spouse in this decision? Because that's going to largely dictate how the strategy gets played out. And they're like, of course. And so I'll go, great. How much does income grow every year that you delay? And they're like, I don't know exactly. And I'll go, look, I'm not beating you up here. I just want you to know the numbers. So what you want to know is every year you delay Social Security, it rises by 5.5%. So if you were to delay from 62 to 63, 5.5%, 63 to 64, 5.5%. Now, that doesn't compound on itself, but it's 5.5% year over year. That's the raise that you essentially get. You're guaranteeing that percentage. Now, if some of you are listening to this going, hey, like, I think I could do way better than 5.5%. Well, some people will turn it on because they'll take the money and they'll go invest because they believe they can do better than 5.5%. You know what I see happen? If someone tells me they're going to do that, you know what they do instead? It sounds good, right? I could beat 5.5%. What if I take the money, go invest it, get 10%? I'm like a genius. What most people do is they don't go invest it. They take the money and they keep it in cash, or they go use it for something else. And so the logic sounds good, but they don't actually execute on it. It's like a doctor telling you, hey, you should like eat healthy and work out all the time and do nothing wrong. And you're like, yeah, I'll do that because you want to like leave the doctor's office. The reality is you're not going to do that all the time. That's ridiculous. You're going to work out some of the time, but you're also going to like eat a cookie, and like that's allowed as well. So I'm not telling my clients no cookies. I'm saying, look, the way you collect Social Security, you don't get to reverse this decision. So we want to make sure we're being intentional. Now, technically you do have like a small period where you can reverse it, but I don't like getting into the nitty-gritty of that. The third and final reason to delay Social Security is because of what's known as spousal benefits. So think about this. Let's assume my name's Ari. My fiance's name is Alice. Let's assume Alice is a teacher right now. So she's actually included in something called the windfall elimination provision, which I will not put you to sleep regarding those details. But basically, she does not get Social Security. She has a pension. She's paying into something else. So if I were to keep this example really simple, let's assume Alice and I decide to have children, which we will have at some point. You guys can put your best names for those children below. Some of you have put in the name cauliflower before. You've told me that. If you don't know that reference, that's okay. But you'll see it maybe in the comments. So what you're going to see is, let's assume Alice decides to stop working because she wants to stay home with the family. And let's assume I want to keep working because she knows how much I love it. Well, if I decide to turn on my Social Security benefit at 67, which might be my full retirement age, Alice is available. She has the option to take her benefit or half of my benefit. Well, that's pretty cool, right? So if she wanted to, she could start taking $2,000 a month. The only thing is she has to wait for me to turn it on first. She can't go just turn it on. So if I wanted to keep delaying it because of whatever reason, Alice can't turn on that benefit. So the spousal benefit, the reason this is important is a lot of you are going to make the following mistake. So now you're not going to, because you're about to hear this, which is the way the spousal benefit works is the maximum your spouse can get is your full retirement age benefit, not beyond that. So let's assume at age 67, I could take $4,000 a month because I just want to turn it on. Alice could take half at $2,000. But let's assume I want to delay, right? I want to delay until 70. Keep it simple. I can at 70 take $5,000 a month, or at full retirement, 67, take $4,000 a month. I'm trying to keep the math because I'm making it up in my head right now. Well, some of you are going to think, well, if you were to wait and collect at 70 for $5,000 a month, Alice gets half of that, which is $2,500. No, that's not how this works. They're not that nice. Alice can only get half of my benefit at full retirement age. So why would someone not turn it on at full retirement age? If I turn it on, $4,000 a month, Alice gets $2,000. We've got $6,000 a month coming in. Why would I even wait? Well, the reason I would wait is if I knew I was going to pass away, which luckily there's no news of this, but if I knew I was going to pass away at 72, I might want to wait and collect at age 70 because my $5,000 a month, if something happens to me, Alice now gets $5,000 a month. That's called a survivor benefit, and she gets that for the rest of her life. So lots of reasons to delay, ways to think about Social Security. Hopefully this was helpful. Was this overwhelming? Was it too much? Was it not enough? Let me know in the comments below. I want to make videos that are helpful for you. Now, if you want a custom Social Security strategy, tax strategy, estate, withdrawal, investments, that's what we do. We love getting to do it. If you want to play around with the software and this tool, this is what I would encourage you to start with. If you're unsure what you should do, this software, look, it's cheap for a reason. I give it away in this for a few $100, so you can go in, play around with the software, see what you're on track for. Some of you are like, this looks good. I want to have 13 million at the end. Others of you are like, I would rather retire earlier and I just want to optimize my Social Security decision. So like, what the heck do I do? It's a big difference when you collect. So I want you to understand the timing, how this would result for some of you guys. Go run your own projections. Go put your own estimates in there. Go be your own advisor and see what you're on track for right now. You could do it literally today. And if you're unaware, if you go to my YouTube channel here and you click live, which is the 4th tab here, you can see these are long episodes. These are different. So this episode's 10, 15, 20 minutes normally. This is a long informal discussion where I'm really walking someone through how to use the software in more detail and how we can optimize. I even had my mom come on the show if you want to meet her. But there's one of these episodes where we go into Social Security in more detail. It's right here. So if you want to see me walk you through Social Security optimization, take a look at this. You can see it's super fun. I try to keep it educational, but also a ton of entertainment because I know this stuff can get dry at times. So I do my best. Hopefully this is helpful. See you guys.